They told me it was a routine cleanup. Just a few oversized tarantulas in the mines, the mayor said. Burn the webs, collect the coin. I should have asked for double. I walked into the darkness of the black hollows, my flamethrower heavy in my hands. The air smelled of sulfur and something sweet, like rotting flowers. Come out, you ugly bastards. I pulled the trigger. A jet of orange fire roared into the tunnel. Usually, spiders pop when they burn. It's a disgusting sound, but satisfying. But these didn't pop. They screamed. I froze. That wasn't an insect sound. That was the sound of a child. I lowered the weapon, squinting through the smoke. The webs on the walls weren't melting. They were glowing. Red veins pulsed through the silk, pumping something that looked like blood. My gut twisted. Abort. Get out. Now. I turned around to leave, but the entrance was gone. Where the tunnel opening used to be, there was only a thick white wall of fresh silk. I ran to it. I fired the flamethrower. The web absorbed the heat. It didn't burn. It grew. I was trapped. And then, from the ceiling,
Lumen, requiem aeternam, undue.
I heard it. A voice like silk sliding over a blade. You bring fire to my house, little fly? I spun around. She was hanging upside down from the darkness. 8 massive obsidian legs twitched with excitement. But her upper body, it was a woman, pale as moonlight, with eyes that were nothing but clusters of red rubies. The Spider Queen, Arachne. I raised my weapon, but she was faster. 2 streams of silk shot from her wrists. They hit my arms, pinning them to my sides instantly. The force knocked the wind out of me. She descended slowly, her human face smiling, while her mandibles clicked in anticipation. Most men scream, she whispered, crawling closer until her face was inches from my mask. I like the ones who scream. I struggled, but the silk was stronger than steel chains. She ripped the mask off my face. Her breath smelled of old dust and iron. Eat me and get it over with, I spat. She laughed, a chittering, clicking sound that made my skin crawl. Eat you? Oh no. Meat is easy to find, but a guardian, that is rare. She reached behind her into the pulsating sac of her abdomen and pulled out something. She placed the object in my bound hands. It was warm. It had a heartbeat.
The web breaks, and the shadows grow longer. There is no escape from what is coming.
Thump, thump. Thump, thump. This is the last of the royal line. My sisters want to destroy it. They want the throne. She cut the silk on my legs with a razor-sharp claw. I fell to my knees, still clutching the egg. I am dying, little fly. My own venom is turning against me. She leaned in, her red eyes boring into my soul. You will carry this. You will take it to the crystal nest at the bottom of the abyss. If you drop it, it explodes and the acid will melt your flesh in seconds. If you let it go cold, I will know and I will hunt you down. But if you deliver it safely, you will not just survive. You will become the father of the new swarm. I looked at the pulsing golden sack in my hands. I looked at the monsters gathering in the shadows behind her, hundreds of smaller spiders waiting for her to die. I had a choice: die here or become the protector of a monster. How long do I have? I asked. She smiled, and a drop of venom dripped from her fang onto my shoulder. It hissed, burning a mark into my skin. Until the mark reaches your heart. Run, Guardian, run. I turned and ran deeper into the dark, the heartbeat of the egg syncing with my own. I ran until the sounds of the queen faded into the distance. But silence is worse in the dark. My mind began to fracture. The venom she dripped on my shoulder wasn't just a mark, it was a hallucinogen. I stumbled and fell, but when I looked at the ground, it wasn't rock, it was faces. The faces of men I had killed in the war. They opened their mouths, but no sound came out, only spiders crawling from their throats. I screamed and scrambled back, hitting the wall. "Get a grip," I whispered. "It's not real." But the pain was real. My skin felt too tight, like I was wearing a suit 2 sizes too small. I scratched at my arm. A layer of skin peeled away like wet paper. Underneath, it wasn't raw flesh. It was gray, hard, shiny, chitin. I stared at it in horror. I wasn't just carrying the egg. I was becoming the nest. I tried to cry, but my eyes burned dry. The egg in my hands pulsed warmer, comforting me. "Don't worry," a voice whispered in my head. Not the queen's voice, a child's voice. "It will be over soon, father. Just let the old skin die." I wanted to throw the egg against the wall. I wanted to smash it and end this nightmare, but I couldn't. My hands refused to let go. They were locked around the golden shell, protecting it with a strength that wasn't mine. I stood up. The hallucinations faded, replaced by a cold, robotic focus. I didn't feel fear anymore. I didn't feel the desire to go home. I only felt the mission: deliver the package. I walked deeper, but the path was blocked. Click, click, click. The sisters. They weren't the giant queen. These were the soldiers. Wolf spiders the size of dogs, their bodies covered in thick, bristly fur. They dropped from the ceiling, blocking the path ahead. 8 eyes glowing in the dark, fixated on the egg in my arms. They screeched, a sound that shattered the silence. I raised the flamethrower. "Burn!" I screamed. I pulled the trigger. Nothing, just the hiss of empty gas. The fuel was gone. I threw the useless weapon at them and backed away. My back hit the cold rock wall. I was cornered. The lead spider lunged. Its fangs dripped with necrotic venom, aiming for my throat. I flinched, waiting for the bite, waiting for death. But my body moved on its own, faster than thought, faster than humanly possible. I jumped. I didn't just jump back. I launched myself 10 feet into the air. My hand slapped against the sheer stone wall above me. I expected to slip. I expected to fall into the swarm. I didn't fall. My palm stuck to the rock. I looked at my hand in horror. Tiny microscopic hooks had erupted from my fingertips, piercing the stone. I was clinging to the ceiling like one of them. Below me, the swarm hissed in confusion. They couldn't reach me. I scrambled across the ceiling, moving on all fours, defying gravity. The disgust rose in my throat, but I swallowed it down. I had to survive. I thought the spiders were the worst thing in the abyss. I was wrong. The tunnel opened up into a cavern so vast I couldn't see the ceiling, and in front of me lay the Dead Sea. Not water, acid. A bubbling green sludge that smelled of melting copper. There was no path around it, only a bridge. But it wasn't made of stone or wood. It was made of bones, ribs of giants, skulls of creatures that had been extinct for 1,000,000 years, woven together with thick, ancient webs. I stepped onto the bridge. The bones cracked under my weight. Below, the acid popped and hissed. If I fell, there would be nothing left to bury. Halfway across, the egg began to scream. Not a sound, a heat. It became scorching hot, burning my chest. It sensed something. From the green sludge below, ripples appeared. Tentacles. Not flesh, translucent, gelatinous tentacles rose from the acid, blind cave squids that fed on whatever fell from the webs. One of them lashed out, wrapping around my ankle. It didn't burn, it dissolved. My boots sizzled and melted away. The acid touched my skin, but it didn't hurt. My new skin, the gray armor I had grown, it resisted the acid. I laughed, a guttural, monstrous sound. I wasn't prey anymore. I grabbed the tentacle with my clawed hand and pulled. With a wet tear, I ripped the creature from the lake and threw it into the dark. I ran across the rest of the bridge, the bones shattering behind me, the bridge collapsing into the acid as I leaped to the other side. I landed on solid crystal. I looked back. The path was gone. There was no return. Ahead of me lay the final chamber, the crystal nest, and inside, something was waiting, something that didn't want to bow. The King of the Hollows wasn't a spider. It was a monstrosity of bone-white armor and jagged spikes, a cannibal that hunted its own kind. It dropped the half-eaten corpse of the previous guardian and turned its massive, blind head toward me. It sensed the heat of the egg. It smelled the royal blood inside. It didn't roar. It clicked, a sound like a ticking bomb. It lunged. A massive claw, sharp enough to slice through a tank, slammed into the spot where I was standing a second ago. But I wasn't there. I was in the air, flipping backward with a grace I never possessed. The world moved in slow motion. I saw the dust particles floating in the air. I saw the weak points in its armor. The mark on my shoulder burned hot, finally reaching my heart. I didn't die. I evolved. Power flooded my veins, hot and thick. My fingers elongated, hardening into black obsidian claws. My skin rippled, turning into a natural armor. I didn't need a flamethrower anymore. I was the weapon. The creature struck again, but this time I didn't dodge. I caught its claw. I felt the shockwave in my bones, but I held my ground. I squeezed. The monster's chitin cracked like dry wood. It shrieked in confusion. I leaped onto its back, my movements a blur. I plunged my new claws deep into the soft flesh between its neck plates. My body pumped venom into the beast, not poison, acid. The King of the Hollows thrashed, crashing into the crystal walls, bringing down a rain of jagged shards, but I held on. I watched as the acid dissolved it from the inside out. It collapsed with a final wet thud. Silence returned to the abyss. I stood over the carcass, breathing heavy, blue blood dripping from my hands. I looked at my reflection in a crystal. I wasn't human anymore. My eyes were gone, replaced by clusters of red rubies. I was a monster, but I had a job to do. I walked to the center of the nest and placed the golden egg on the throne of silk. The heartbeat stopped. For a terrifying second, I thought I had failed. I thought I had let it go cold. Then, crack! The gold shell split open. It wasn't a spider that crawled out. It was a child, a hybrid, human form but with skin like porcelain and eyes that held the darkness of the void. It looked up at me. It didn't cry. It smiled. "Father," it whispered. The voice wasn't just in my head. It echoed through the entire cavern. From the shadows, thousands of spiders emerged. The sisters, the soldiers, the survivors. They didn't attack. They bowed. High above, I heard the Spider Queen's voice one last time, fading like a dying echo. "The throne is yours, Guardian. The surface is just a feeding ground. Prepare them." I looked up at the distant ceiling, imagining the world above, the sun, the city, the people who sent me down here to die. I picked up the child. "Let them come," I said. "We are hungry."